So we're going to go ahead and solve this quadratic. 30x cubed plus 44x squared minus 10x equals 0. So to begin, we look for a GCF, the greatest common factor between all three terms. The GCF here would be 2x. So we're going to go ahead and divide each of these terms by 2x. That'll leave us with 2x on the outside. Then we have times 15x squared plus 22x minus 5 equals 0. Now that we have this in standard form, we can go ahead and take our a value and multiply it by our c value. 15 times negative 5 will give us negative 75. And then we're going to look for numbers that add to be our middle term, positive 22, and multiply to be negative 75. So we list out all the factors of negative 75. Now, out of all these numbers that multiply to be 75, the only one that adds to be positive 22 is negative 3 and positive 25. So we go ahead and we create our double bubble, and on the outside we still have the 2x. So we have 2x, and then on the inside of our bubble we have x minus 3 and x plus 25. Of course, it's still set equal to 0. Now, we multiplied at the start by 15. We now need to undo that, so we're going to divide both of these terms by 15. That will leave us with 2x times x minus 1/5 times x plus 5/3 equals 0. Now, you may be able to see all three answers already. You may be able to look at this and say, oh, x is equal to negative 5/3, x is equal to positive 1/5, and x is equal to 0. And if you can do that, then you're set. I'm going to go ahead and factor this all the way, though. That way we can see everything that's occurring. If these did not divide evenly, we still have fractions here within our bubbles. I'm going to take my denominator, and I'm going to move it in front of my x variable in each bubble. So I now have 2x times 5x minus 1 times 3x plus 5 equals 0. At this point, each bubble gets its own equation, and if there's anything on the outside of our bubbles, that also gets its own equation. So we have 2x equals 0, 5x minus 1 equals 0, and 3x plus 5 equals 0. Solving first for 2x equals 0, I divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals 0. Solving for our other two equations, we get x equals 1/5 and x equals negative 5/3. And those are our three answers. And again, it's all based upon the exponent. Depending on how large your exponent is, what power it's raised to, will determine the maximum number of answers that you can get for that specific problem. And again, these are just x-intercepts, so that's where you're going to see these at. All right. So today we're just going to continue practicing our constructions. We're going to be doing the same exact thing. We're going to get some extra practice in. So let's go ahead and work on some of these. First off, always true, sometimes true, or never true. 2 points that lie on the same arc are equidistant to the center from which the arc is drawn. So if I have, this will be always true first off. And the reason why, if we have these 2 points and they lie on the same arc, they should be equidistant. And the reason that this is true is because when we're creating these arcs, we're using our compass. And compasses are used just to make circles. And we know in all circles, all radii are congruent. So therefore, these should always be equidistant. Sorry about that. Let me go ahead and bring this back. There is our arc, and here is our circle. And again, all radii are congruent. So these will always be congruent because they are the same radii. So that's why this will always be true no matter what. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our first construction of the day. Find the location of point Q that makes PQ congruent to XY. Now again, at any point today, feel free to pause the video, and that way you can catch up. But I am going to be going through these step by step fairly quickly, so please use the pause button if you need to. So first off, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure XY with a compass. So I'm going to put the point of my compass on X. I'm going to measure with the pencil end on Y. Now that I've measured XY, I'm going to go ahead and put the point of my compass on P. And with the point of my compass on P, I'm going to go ahead and create an arc that is length XY. I'm going to label that point as point Q. Now, with point Q, we now have that PQ is congruent to XY. So we've now created congruent segments. All right, next up. Make an equilateral triangle with side lengths congruent to AB. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and measure AB with our compass. Put your point of the compass on A, and then the pencil on B, and you'll be able to measure AB. With the measurement of AB, you're just going to go ahead and create a random point. I'm going to go ahead and create point P. So that's our first step, creating point P that is not on segment AB and measuring segment AB. From here, using point P, I'm going to go ahead and create two arcs. I'm going to create one above and kind of to the side. So it's going to have two different arcs here. I'm going to label one of those arcs as point Q. So I'm going to put point Q on one of the arcs. Doesn't matter where on the arc you place it, just make sure it's on the arc itself. Next, I'm going to take the point of my compass, and I'm going to place the point on point Q now. And I'm not going to change the distance of my compass. With the point now on point Q, I'm going to create an arc to intersect the upper arc here. So we now have these two intersecting arcs. I'll label that intersecting point as point R. With these 3 points, I can now play connect the dots and create my triangle. This triangle will be equilateral because all 3 sides will be the same exact length, and that length is the length of segment AB. So with this, we have now constructed our equilateral triangle. All right, number 4. Using segment ED, construct a 60-degree angle and then bisect it. So step 1, I'm going to go ahead and place the compass on point E. I'm going to draw an arc about half the distance across the segment ED, so my compass needs to be set over half the distance here. I'm just going to create an arc that intersects segment ED. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and go to my point of intersection on my segment. And I'm going to put the point of my compass on this intersection. With the point of my compass on this intersection, I'm going to go ahead and create another arc so that I have 2 intersecting arcs here. Now that I have these 2 intersecting arcs right here, I can go ahead and line up my ruler with point E in these intersecting arcs and create a ray with endpoint E. This ray will create this new angle, angle E, and angle E will be 60 degrees. Now that we have our 60-degree angle, we must bisect this angle. So placing the point of your compass on point E, the vertex of our angle, you're going to draw an arc on both rays. So again, place the point of your compass on the vertex, and you're going to draw 2 arcs, one on each ray. Once you have these 2 arcs, you're going to go ahead and place the point of your compass on one of these purple arcs that we just drew. And without changing the distance of your compass, you're now going to create an arc in the middle of your angle. You'll do that same exact thing with your other intersecting arcs, so you have a pair of intersecting arcs inside of your angle. Now that you have this pair of intersecting arcs, go ahead and line up your ruler with point E in the intersection of these arcs. You're going to draw a ray with endpoint E going through your intersection. That ray is the angle bisector. Now, if it was 60 degrees, we've bisected that 60-degree angle into 2 30-degree angles. So this is now complete. All right, next up, number 5. Find the midpoint of segment XY. So to find the midpoint, we should probably take the perpendicular bisector. So the first thing that we're going to do for the perpendicular bisector, because again, a bisector intersects at the midpoint, is you're going to place the point of your compass on point X. Set your compass over half the distance of XY. And with your compass set to over half the distance, you're going to create an arc above and below segment XY. Next, move your compass over to point Y, the pointy end on point Y, and repeat the same exact thing. Do not change the distance of your compass now. So you're going to create an arc above and below. Now that you have 2 intersecting arcs, line up your ruler with these 2 intersecting arcs, and you're going to draw a line going through them. This line is our perpendicular bisector. Now, the important thing that we need here is to label the point of intersection as point Z. Point Z is our midpoint, because again, it's bisecting the segment, cutting it in half. All right, getting close to being done. We only have 3 more left. So number 6, construct a congruent angle to angle ABC that has ray XY as one of its sides. So we have angle ABC here. We have ray XY. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place the point of our compass on point B, and we're going to draw an arc through both rays. So it should look something like this. I'm going to go ahead and label both the points of intersection as point D and point E. Do not change the distance of your compass. I now am going to place the point of my compass on point X, and I'm going to create the same exact arc. So I should have congruent arcs now. So the blue and the purple arc should be the same. I label that point of intersection as point Z. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take my compass again, and I'm going to place it on point E. With the point of my compass on point E, I'm going to go ahead and measure the distance of DE. With that, I'm going to go ahead and create an arc up here. And with this arc, that tells me the distance of DE. So I now go over to my other point Z, on my other ray, and I'm going to copy that arc once again. So I go ahead and create the arc with the same distance as DE. With that intersection point, I'm now going to go ahead and label that. If you'd like, you can label that as point W if you'd like. You can say, oh, this is point W. And now that we have this, you're going to go ahead and line up your ruler with point X and the intersecting arcs, point W. And you're going to go ahead and draw a ray with endpoint X through that intersection. That ray will create angle WXY, and of course WXY is congruent to angle ABC. All right, construction number 7. Construct a line that is perpendicular to line N and passes through point Z. So we're dropping a perpendicular here. The first thing you want to do is place the point of your compass on point Z. And when you place the point of your compass on point Z, you're going to make sure that your compass will intersect your line at 2 different points. With that, I'm going to go ahead and create an arc that will intersect line N at 2 distinct points. So it should look like this. I'll label both those points as point X and point Y. Do not change your compass's length after you draw this arc. Once you draw this arc, place the point of your compass on point X, and without changing that distance, you're going to go ahead and create an arc below line N. You'll repeat that same process at point Y as well. So you should have 2 intersecting arcs down below. Again, that distance should be the same distance as you did from point Z to line N. So we shouldn't have changed distances yet. At this point, you're going to go ahead and line up your ruler with point Z and point W. You're going to draw a line through those 2 points. That line will be perpendicular to line N and pass through point Z. Our final construction for the day. Construct a line that is perpendicular to line N and passes through point X. So we are now going to erect a perpendicular. So, with the point of your compass on point X and making sure that your distance is not going off the line, you don't want your distance out here, you want it on the line itself. You're going to go ahead and create an arc on both sides of point X, on the left and the right. You can label those points as Y and Z. Now, at this point, you're going to go ahead and put the point of your compass on point Y, and you're going to set your distance to in between X and Z. So the point of your compass should be on Y, and the pencil end should be between X and Z, somewhere in here. You're going to go ahead and create an arc above line N. Without changing the distance of your compass, place the point of your compass on point Z and repeat the same exact thing. Create an arc above line N. Again, these should create intersecting arcs, and they should have the same distance. They should be equidistant to these arcs. At this point, you're going to go ahead and line up point X in these intersecting arcs. And you're going to draw a line segment through these 2. This will create a perpendicular line to line N that passes through point X. And this construction is now complete. All right, so that's it for our constructions today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, if you have any questions or need any clarification on any of these, please let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Have a great rest of your day. And